Ashes of Creation's update reveals tank gameplay. Is this by... Oh, this is not by Narc. Like, usually when Asmon reacts to a video, it's from Ashes, it's by Narc. But, yeah, no. Let's take a look.
So,
And of course, Ash is not going to come out anytime soon, but is probably one of the most anticipated MMOs, probably since New World.
so this happened yesterday. I didn't get a chance to watch it. We are going to watch it. Here we go.
It's a long video. I wonder how long this trailer is. Or update, I should say.
Okay. Okay. I'm sold. Yep, I'm already sold. Yep, I'm in.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to
Okay.
another Ashes of Creation update. Today, we are going to be sharing with you a preview of the Alpha 2 tank archetype.
Not gonna
Now,
like the armor.
I want you
Kinda
guys to
looks
keep in
dumb to
mind
me.
as you're watching this preview that everything is still subject to change,
Yeah.
especially considering that the Alpha 2 is going to give us a lot of feedback, both from the players as well as data-driven, that we're going to utilize in order to improve the design features. But your feedback from this video is very important. And I am joined today by three of our absolute glorious developers. One of our engineers with whom you've spoken with in the past. Keenan, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking.
Welcome back again. We are here at it again. For those of you who watched, by the way, on the live stream, you saw a previous
I like the
iteration of
weapon.
this
The weapon
recording.
looks okay.
We're doing a little bit of re-recording
It's a big
because there were
sword.
some audio issues. And also, I just wanted to
Yeah,
give
it doesn't have a
little
lot to it,
in-depth
though.
detail around the specific abilities.
I think, like, obviously when the game comes out, a lot of this will be much more fleshed out. So I'm not going to try to judge it too much on that. But yeah.
The area that we're fighting in and the encounter design. But also we have with us two of our glorious senior designers, Brian and Trad. How you guys doing?
Doing great. Happy to be here.
Yep, let's do it again.
Let's
We got a lot of practice on this by now.
Yes, let's do it again. And this
Warmed up.
time, you know what we're going to do? We are going to perform flawlessly. There's not going to be any edits here. We're not going to use some GM powers. We better do this good.
I'm
All
not
right,
liking the
here
heat
we
for
go.
this.
I know. Okay, so before we get started, first, let's talk about the area that we're in. This is the Riverlands. As many of you know, the Riverlands is one of the predominant areas in Alpha 2 that players will be exploring.
Looks
this
really
was
cool.
home to
Or,
the
like,
once
really nice.
ancient Aelan Empire, a human race nation that was formed at the apex of Vera before the fall. And we are here to collect some gear. I believe that I am looking...
It's obvious that the UI has had a number of improvements.
Yeah.
And you can see right here, this is like obviously a shield. This seems like it's some sort of a healing icon. This is some sort of a damage, like big
Melee
sword. So it's obviously
damage.
the guy with like
Yeah.
the black coat. And this is the ranger because you can see the bow and arrow. I like the icons here, and just in general, I feel like it's been improved a lot. The UI looks a lot better.
Looks much cleaner.
for the remaining pieces of the Titan bar.
Even the
set. Is that
mini-map.
right, Brian?
If I don't remember it looking like that, where it's like
Yes.
Awesome.
And
Not
also
opaque,
there's
I
a
know, see-through.
weapon and the shield available for you.
Ooh, okay, so the weapon and the shield are going to show us a little bit of the iteration that you've been working on since our last live stream.
I'm going to
with-
skip ahead just a little bit to get to the actual combat and everything, okay?
The animation team has done great jobs on both of
Okay,
those
here's
fronts.
a menu they're going to pull up.
And then let me talk a little bit about the setting. So
Okay.
in the Riverlands here, what our objectives are, you'll see a little bit of update here on the UI. So we're taking a look
Actually,
at...
doesn't look bad. I think the text is a little small, though.
This looks great.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is great. I don't really have anything to complain about.
My only complaint was that the
W.
text is a bit small. If you can change it, that'd be good.
our new quest journal.
Not that I can't, like, see it perfectly fine, but usually, like, with quests and stuff, like, sometimes I just want to bring it up and immediately be able to read it very clearly, like, what my objectives are. Yeah, even the objective tracker on the right hand side there, like to me, that's too small to be convenient, if that makes sense. Like I can read it just fine, but I kind of have to focus in.
The area that we're going to be heading towards is called the Oakenbane Keep. And the Oakenbane Keep is once military
Dungeon?
academy before the fall of the Aelan Empire during the Exodus.
He's reading the quest.
And it was used to kind of train up recruits. But now those recruits and perhaps some of their teachers might be haunting that location, and we need to take care of them and dispatch them with haste.
Somebody says in chat, EverQuest 2 graphics, sorry, disagree. I think it's very fair to criticize the optimization and the fidelity of the ground effects, the characters, the trees, etc. It is extremely fair to criticize that. I do, however, think that all of these UI features are high quality and they look very good.
Agreed. Yep.
Like, if the game released with these here, like this journal, this thing here, maybe you'd need some more stuff for this, to be fair. This map, I would be satisfied.
I don't know about satisfied. Like I think they could do even more, but it's not like terrible.
You'll see some of the updates on the itemization and the inventory
there's the backpack.
Here with some of the tooltips and icons. And also you'll see a little bit of the update to the world map, which is still a work in progress. Everything you're going to see here, as I said, is a work in progress that is deserving of your attention and feedback so that we can make more iterations and, of course, make it better. So with that being said, let's do a quick kind of run through of the abilities. I don't want to get necessarily engaged with any enemies, so I'm just going to kind of use the abilities without an enemy kind of in my targeting. Let's talk about this first one. We have a shield assault. Now, does this require a shield in order to use?
It would make sense that shield assault would require a shield.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Now, of course, I have the ability because of the
GM
cheats a little bit to use that ability without the shield, but I'm not going to for the purposes of this demonstration.
Okay.
But tell me a little bit about the shield assault. What is its intent as an ability, guys?
So
That's
it's got
good.
a few things going on with it.
Like, obviously, maybe like a little bit more UI, like information here would be nice, or at least it would be nice if you could turn it on.
Like how much damage it does, and I see in the description it does apply the shaking condition, but I think the damage should be in there.
But like the mechanic here seems fine. It applies some sort of like shaken, and then if they already have it, it stuns them. That's good.
Yeah, that's like D&D.
I would say the primary intent
shield
of
slam.
it is that it is how you engage an encounter. It's got a bit of a mobility. It's not like a super far charge like that carries you across the screen or anything, but yeah, there you go.
All right, let me see it again.
Not like a super far charge like that carries you
Oh, that's nothing. That's literally like 5 steps.
across the screen or anything, but yeah,
Okay.
there you go.
Like maybe you could use it to dodge a mechanic, or something like that.
But it's basically a way to engage with the enemy, get some damage out, and also grab some threat.
Sure.
It applies a pretty good chunk of threat in a small area in front of you, so it's really good at grabbing snap threat on like some high priority target.
And it looks like
I hope they don't go with the idea of having aggro a challenge. I think that it's
Yeah.
way more interesting for a tank to play a
Defense.
like to have aggro but still deal like 60 to 80% of a DPS's damage.
Yeah, I think because I've tanked in most MMOs, and the most fun I have is usually when you're trying to use your abilities to take less damage versus trying to maintain threat or worrying about DPS. I mean, I think you should do good amount of DPS, because if you want to level as a tank, obviously, it's not always fun to just dungeon spam. So I think having enough damage to just solo stuff by yourself is good. But I do think like the role of the tank in terms of gameplay should revolve around mitigating damage. You know what I mean? Like avoiding mechanics, of course. But of course, everyone should be doing that. But I think their abilities should reflect that. Like this one, how it does, do damage, moves you a bit. But it's the shaken ability and the stun seem to be its like main purpose. And stun, of course, will not let you get hit. If they're they're stunned, they're not hitting you, thus damage reduction.
I've never
A mitigation.
found managing threat in WoW as fun,
Nope, it's
or
annoying.
in any game really.
Yep.
That this has a variable distance that's traveled. So
That's
essentially,
why I like
like if
tanking
I
in
have a
Final
target
Fantasy.
that's directly in front
Yeah,
of me right
Final-
now, it's not
in New
predicated on
World,
having
like,
an
aggro's
actual
annoying.
target, but it is a template
Yeah.
attack.
That's a really good point, because I think about it now. Like when I was playing New World, like I really had no interest in tanking after tanking like one dungeon. So I was like, that was stupidly annoying. Also with when you're tanking, there's some bosses that just like keep pushing you, and it feels like you just have no control of your character. It was just dumb.
And if that target is immediately in front of me, then the distance traveled will be shorter. Is that correct?
Using shield
Exactly, and
shield,
you'll see
it's
some
a
of that
bug.
when we're actually
is,
in action.
it's a
Right
bug.
now, you're seeing the full distance. It's again a pretty short range mobility skill, but yeah, you can also just use it point blank on something, and it's not going to make you overshoot the target, and then you have to like reposition, because that can be kind of annoying with some of those skill types.
Awesome.
Sure.
And you said that this generates threat, but I see we have a second ability as well called Inciting Strikes. And if I
Yep.
use that ability, that's a forward cone
Looked okay.
AoE attack that generates additional threat and damage on targets impacted. Is that correct?
Exactly. That one's a bit more effective at AoE threat, so
Okay.
it's got a bit of a wider
New
hitbox,
World
good
too?
for
If
grabbing
only.
multiple targets and
New
cleaving them
World.
all. So that'll be what you'll be using if like there's a pack of stuff on us and you want to just get them all off of us. But not quite as much threat as the shield assault for one target. So each of them kind of has their utility there for aggro.
Awesome. Now, obviously, as
I think in terms of animations, WoW has some really great animations. Like, for example, Warrior Whirlwind is a great animation. I
Yeah.
also think that, like, Raging Blow is a great animation. There's a handful of other ones. But, like, the games that have really great animations, in my mind, are, like, Lost
Lost Ark.
Ark and
Yeah.
Black Desert Online. I love
True.
those animations. They're so good.
Yep. BDO has like some of the craziest ones, considering it's like, I don't know, it's not like an ARPG kind of thing.
our kit design, we want to encourage synergies,
The Lost
especially
Ark, yeah.
within inner kit synergy, but also with the party. And I see that we have two abilities, specifically Shield Assault as well as Tremoring Bellow. And Tremoring Bellow applies a status condition that can be promoted if there is an existing status condition on the target. So it looks like I can create the shaken condition, and then I can trip shaken targets with the Tremoring Bellow. Is that correct?
It's actually a snare.
got
So if you use that on a snared target, so there's two components to that ability.
Okay.
It's got a shout component, which is a forward cone, and then it's all as you can kind of see there, that shock wave that flew out, and it kind of extends past the second element of that, which is a PBOE around.
That actually looked pretty cool. Not like crazy cool, but decent.
If you use that ability again, you'll see kind of like the ground kick up, and that's like the earthquake element of it. And that does damage,
Yeah.
and
Cool.
that does what
looks
Stephen was
good.
alluding to, where if your target is snared, then it will knock enemies down, which is our trip effect. And
Awesome.
one thing I forgot to mention on the shield assault abilities, it does apply a snare, so you've got a little bit of insert hit synergy going on there. It's a pretty
So I'm assuming Shaken, or let's see here, Charming Blow releases a Thundering Shout and Forward Cone, applying the staggered condition on enemy targets, also stumps the ground, and tripping enemies affected by the snared condition. Oh, okay.
I would say it would definitely be cool if, I don't know if this is the way it's animated, but if it's animated for the reverberations to go out whenever it despawns, it would be cool if they went back in. So it feels like it actually, like, it's like less gamey. You know, it looks like it's actually interacting with the world. It's like
It's
a
fine
small,
combo
like,
to,
animation
charge in
thing.
and then knock them down with the stuff.
I do think
Yeah, it looks
animations
pretty
and the
good.
game feeling good to
And
play
then also after
are,
that,
like, super important.
we have another ability. Brian, talk to me a little bit about Grit and its purpose.
Yeah, grit is some of your bread and butter mitigation skills.
Let's read this. Applies a buff to the caster, reducing incoming damage by 15%, but also reducing movement speed by 30%. Oh, that sucks. And outgoing damage by 20%. Damn, that does suck. Each incoming hit consumes a stack of courage to reduce incoming damage by additional 15%. Courage cannot be generated while grit is active. So courage is probably something that you generate outside of this ability, And when you have like a max amount of stacks or whatever stacks, you pop it on like tank buster things. I'm assuming. Because movement speed and damage output, like it's a pretty big blow, especially if you're like in a raiding like game.
As
Like dungeons, I don't think it'd be a big deal depending on how they do their game, but I just don't see that being that good in raiding.
Okay.
as a tank. So if you're really getting some heat, you'll want to pop that. And if you haven't had it on for a bit, you're going to be
The effect
generating
looks
stacks of
okay.
courage, and the
Not
more
too
stacks
good,
of
though.
courage you have, that'll give you increased damage mitigation for a certain number of hits.
You know what's kind of reminds me of is almost like like kung fu movies in the past, where like they would like power up and like they get like this blue or red glow on them.
And I
Okay.
noticed that I'm slowed when I used grit, so really it's a very situational ability usage,
Yeah.
depending on.
Isn't this exactly how the gun lancer works in Lost Ark? I feel like this looks
Actually,
very similar.
What type of situation you find yourself in. Also, this can be
Yeah.
activated mid-swing in another ability, right?
Yep. The way I always refer to this ability is you can think of it kind of like an off GCD ability, where you can use it even though you have another ability activating, so that it's really responsive and can be popped in like an emergency. You don't have to wait for that animation to complete or for that global cooldown to finish. You just pop it and instantly applies on and off, and it's
Okay, so you just brought up the next skill. Instantly dispels all negative effects on the caster. Good. Then creates a protective dome behind the tank for 15 seconds. Looks like it's in front of him, not behind him. Transferring 50% of all damage received by the targets within the area to the tank instead. All targets within the cone also receive increased status effect resistance for the duration. Okay. So probably really effective against anything that does like AoE. Like maybe a Dragon's Breath or something like that.
toggled ability, so you can kind of turn it on and off at your disclosure.
Nice, very cool. And I see this Aegis is causing essentially a area of effect that our party members can live within, and if they do, I'm absorbing a portion of their damage taken pre-mitigation.
Isn't that like
Is
the
that correct as
Paladin
well,
limit break?
Keenan?
Yeah.
Like, not exactly,
Final Fantasy XIV's like limit break with 3.
but
Yeah,
like
that's right.
close to it.
It forks some percentage of the incoming hit and applies it to your mitigation.
I think its use is going to be identical to the Paladin's limit break in Final Fantasy XIV, because look at the range on that. That's very little. And I don't know. It depending on the fight. Like, why would you do this unless the boss was like doing some like big mega move where it would hit everyone? Like, have everyone gather up and use this ability would help.
Not the party members.
Nice, very cool, very cool. All right, well, this kind of gives you guys a comprehensive overview. I'm sorry, in addition to that, we have a grapple, but that will require a target. And the grapple is missing some of the effects, as I said, work in progress, but we can.
We'll just read that real quick. Takes aim for a moment before hurling a hooked chain in a line, damaging the first target. It contacts, and immediately pulling them to the caster. The target suffers a tapering snare for 3 seconds. So with that and the shout, I'm assuming is a good combination. Okay. That's a good, like, what he's probably, like, tanks are going to use to actually pull a group to them.
Still use it in order to kind of do certain types of engagements.
Yeah.
So with that quick kind of demonstration of these abilities, let's see what we can do to acquire that Mason Shield, and also
Yeah, let's see some gameplay.
to
Here we
test
go.
Test our capabilities as a party. How cohesive can we be? So I would ask, given that we're low level, and just so you guys are aware, because we're lower
Environment
level, we're
looks
about
okay.
level 15, our access to our class kit is a bit limited, as you would expect. You want to
yeah.
have that ramp and kind of class progression. And as a result, I'm going to ask, because we have such strong DPS users here in the fighter and in the ranger, that you give me a moment with the larger monsters to establish kind of a
Wait for 5
a
Sunders.
bit of threat. But let me pull this guy to
yeah.
us.
Does not compute.
Does not compute. Nice.
I think the flashing lights are. I think the flashing lights are a bit too much. Like
Yeah,
this reminds me a lot
I
of
was
like
just about to say
Hurricane
that.
and Wrath right now, where like it's flashy. It's like super flashy. I don't think that's super necessary.
Oh yeah. Okay. It's feeling good.
Because it looked like at least like several abilities were like
I
that.
love the
which
little
is-
stream
I can see
with
being a bit
ambient sound
annoying.
effects that Cat has done.
You can lower. Okay.
It really
Yeah, the
gets,
stream's really nice.
it puts us.
Because you always got to put it in perspective of like the big fights. You know, like obviously this game's gonna have like world PvP and stuff, which probably means it's gonna be like guild versus guild things, and even raids and all that stuff. So you're talking about like dozens of those effects happening all at once, and like if it's just a few people, like 2 people here doing it, it's not too big of a deal. But when it's like a ton, like that gets really annoying.
It makes me need to
To
go
look
back.
at.
No, I'm just kidding.
AFK, BRB.
There we go. Got that knockdown. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. All right, now as you guys will see, these guys are relatively easy to dispatch. You probably saw them in our Ranger Showcase. These are some of the Minotaurs that are out in the early parts of this Riverland area. We're trying
Yeah,
to reach
sure.
the Oakenbane Keep. That is the location of our goodies, and the quests that we have, they deserved better. Probably referring to the people that died there, which is really sad to think about. Oh my god. Got him!
Can you pull that rain collar in? That
Wow,
works.
just smash its face. Easy peasy. What do we got up here? Looks like a destroyed boat. What was a boat even doing here in the first place?
Yeah, I think target of target. Somebody mentioned that. I think that's a really good idea. Yeah, if they had target of target in the UI.
Yep.
I'll try
Could
to
have been a
pull
big
this
flood.
guy. Probably. Oh, we're switching
Maybe
to
we're in a
action
drought.
mode.
I'm gonna be honest. I think the warrior should be able to like throw a chain or something like that to pull mobs in. Like having death grip, for example, in WoW for a
I mean, he has it. It just looks like it's been resisting this whole
death
time.
knight is like one of the coolest and most badass abilities in the game, and I think that more tanks should have something like that, or an axe, yeah, something like that.
Nice. I love the effects on the staff and their little bubble shield.
Yeah, these Minotaurs are awesome looking.
Yeah, they are. I like their size, just the general size. All right, looks like we got somebody over here to the
Okay.
right. Let me see if I can pull that guy as well.
And these are more seriously tuned for.
All right, get behind me.
Yeah, this seems like it's a lot harder. These are like the elites.
Yeah, these guys are more tuned towards that group. Now, this is intended for a full group.
They lose
Of course, we
aggro.
are a party of 4. I am losing a bit of aggro on this guy. There we go, got him back.
That's actually kind of annoying because he was attacking that whole time.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, like, I'd be curious to hear other opinions on this, but I've never really liked the idea that you can lose aggro as a tank if you're just doing your rotation.
Yeah.
It's-
Like, it shouldn't be possible for you to lose aggro if you're hitting it. Like, if that's the thing you're focusing on, I can understand, like, you hitting something once and then moving on, and then someone eventually takes aggro because it just did too much damage. I'm actually fine with that. But, like, this case right here, what we just saw, was him actually doing things to the target and still lost aggro to the guy.
It's just, like, chasing mobs around because
That would make more sense if he was, like, way higher level than him. You know what I mean? Like, 5 levels higher.
what ends up happening is that people don't wait to DPS.
Nope.
They just don't do it. Even if you say to do it, they don't do it. So you could just, it's like whenever you have this in a game, what you're doing is you're just creating a situation that
It's going to frustrate people who will tank, thus making them not want to tank, thus making less tanks in a game that needs tanks. It's a lose-lose all around.
whenever players play the way that they usually play, it creates a frustrating outcome.
Yep. Because they're going to blame it. A lot of times they blame the tank. Like, dude, keep aggro, you suck. Like,
What's the difficulty? Then
most
for
of them are
tanks?
going to get that.
I think that the difficulty for tanks should be being able to have certain positional attacks that you can use to deal damage, to CC the mobs, and also to group the mobs. Like with Death Knights being able to grip mobs in, stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's what I like a lot more.
Knock him down to the ground. Need a little bit more deeps. Let's see. I could probably avoid that other guy over there.
I also think that the names over the NPCs, one thing that Warcraft does extremely well, especially whenever you have some add-ons, is it gives you all of the relevant information that an NPC like you need to know inside of their nameplate.
Yeah.
Like WoW has extremely good nameplates, and I think that's super necessary.
Grab this echo.
Absolutely
later,
agree.
exactly.
Oh, he's
Can't
coming
remember
toward
names.
us.
Yeah.
Aggro.
Uh-oh. All right.
That, and it's hard to tell that these things even were elites. Like, if you were just out in the world fighting and you saw these guys, maybe you didn't really pay attention to the health and you just pulled it. Wow, you know it's an elite because of that skull.
Yeah, I don't think the
We're
names
good.
look super.
Or like a rare spawn because of the, I forget what rare spawn icon is. I think it's like a cross or something like that.
Good either. To be fair, like that's something that's it's always been like that. They just haven't changed that.
Good. Here we have this other one. I'm going to activate some shield for us.
Ooh.
Oh, I'm coming down.
He's dead. Yeah.
No, Amanda.
Oh, whoa. No.
Okay, well he died.
Flawless.
I'm back up. It's okay. It's okay.
Did he
As long
cheat?
as the party up and the party died. Okay.
I think he
Let's
cheated
see
to
here.
respawn. But it's okay. It's a
We are
showcase, so I
okay.
don't really
Let's
mind.
get our... Oh, where did you guys go?
They're kiting away.
We're kiting. I think they're
Yeah.
leashing now.
Okay, let's let them leash. I see
What the fuck was that?
4GM Ferguson is here. Maybe we can get him up.
Over aggro. No, what happened is that they do AoE abilities. Like that guy did an AoE, and because Steven had the ability on that redirects damage to him, the
Yep.
AoE did all of that damage to him that was multiplied by the players that it would have hit.
Yep.
That's why he died.
Which freaking wrecked him. Yep.
Let's just
I'm pretty
avoid
sure.
the guys to the right real quick.
Well, if you notice, like that's when his health was like dropping like crazy fast.
Yeah, I think he patrolled over as you were moving up there.
Alright, I'm gonna come
Oh, there's
back.
one up there,
let's,
too.
Let's pull him back here. Let's pull him back.
That one looked bigger
that
too.
looks like a boss.
Yeah. It's like a mini
I got
boss,
the
right?
boss, just the boss.
Okay, let's see how this looks.
Double the HP almost.
Alright.
Yeah, this is like kind of what I was saying is that having to get aggro as a tank is just so unfun to me.
Yep.
Like that's why I don't play I don't play tank in New World. It's just not fun.
Yeah, that's actually true.
Okay, we got just the boss, so we should be good.
That and looks like Steven's not even popping his like threat things. He has both things not on cooldown. The number 1 and 2.
He's on me.
There we go.
Knocking him down.
That's good.
I do like that he could knock down this a boss. Like I don't like when bosses are completely immune. I think they should have like diminishing returns, but I really don't agree that they should be completely immune to CC.
We need to keep him some heals.
He's out of range.
Raid bosses make sense for that though.
I like the, I feel like this is pretty strong damage mitigation from the grip.
Yeah, especially if you've built up a bit of courage beforehand. Doing okay on mana.
Get him down, almost. This guy should have a mace for me, right?
Yep.
It seems
Ooh,
that
he's got the
way.
Hammer of Corin. Okay.
I think that kind of loot is fine too. Combat
it's a
looks
bit
so
boring.
stiff. Yeah, that's definitely true. I think making combat good is the hardest thing that games have to do. That's the
Yeah.
one challenge that, like, if combat in a game isn't good, the game isn't good. But if combat is good, the game is good.
That's true.
Looks like it has some physical
like
penetration.
the most
Of
important
course,
part to
these
get
stats
right.
you'll see here are.
That's why
not
WoW
stats,
has, like,
so
so
I
much
won't reveal
longevity.
that just yet.
The combat in
But
WoW is
let
so
me see
good.
if I can. Ooh, okay. So
Made, greed, or pass. Okay.
in the group loot, obviously, there's a lot of functionality here that parties have the ability to customize. There can be loot master, there can be round robin, there can
Right.
be need, greed, pass. That's applied on a per rarity basis,
Sure.
depending on the party's choices. Some materials, and now I should have the ability to use. So the Lorca Vindicta shield, that's not the shield I'm looking for. I'm trying to get a tower shield. But in the meantime, I can use
Okay, he's gonna use the hammer and the
this
shield.
shield, which
I think the
works,
hammer was
I
doing more
think.
All right,
damage.
let's see
But
how
it's not
this
going to be
works.
as good as the tower shield. But it'll help. So now let me see what happens when I use my shield rush with this. Nice. Ooh, that felt good. Very cool.
That's decent.
Alright, stay on me, little Echo. Little baby Echo. Hey, look at that. We're not too bad here.
Okay.
So talk to me a little bit about
Effects are blinding. Yeah, there's a lot of flashy effects and things like that. I think that you can turn a lot of that down, though, to be fair.
kind
As long
of
as you can turn it down,
some of
that's
the differences
fine.
that we had
Yeah.
between
But the issue is, like, you don't want to be able to turn it off, so you want to have, like, a very legible way to understand what the other players are doing without the indicator being blinding.
the tank
Pretty much.
archetype in Alpha 1 and the tank archetype that we will be having in Alpha 2.
Like I know Final Fantasy has it where you can disable other people's things so you only see yours, which I think is also good. Because I usually reduce them, like I don't completely disable them, but I usually leave mine as like a little more visible.
Yeah, I could speak to that a bit. So for those of you that were part of Alpha 1, or have seen some of that footage, you might have noticed that the tank felt very much more like an offensive melee type. Something you'd almost expect more from a fighter. And part of that is because we didn't really have any other archetypes at that time to fill that role. So you're going to notice a lot more defense and control and threat mechanics on this version of the tank that you didn't necessarily see as much of prior. So as we've kind of already gone over a lot of the ability mechanics, you probably already noticed that you've got a lot more reliable mechanics that you can use pretty frequently to
Maybe this is an unpopular take, but I actually would not care if this game had target locking in PvE.
It was
Like
annoying that he
for,
just
like,
missed
using,
his
like,
ability.
basic attacks
and then lost
for like a
threat for
bow
that.
or like a staff or something like that. I think that's totally fucking fine, because like missing your charge like that is like super annoying.
Yep.
And like I don't think it should be for PvP. Absolutely fucking not. But for PvE, totally fine. Like whenever I played New World, it was very annoying having to like shoot every single arrow and aim every single arrow. The same with the staff, etc. That's why
Yeah.
almost everybody that you see that plays the game for like PvE is using a melee weapon.
defend your party and also defend yourself.
And what is the type of tank role we're looking to achieve with this particular class fantasy, this class kit that we have?
I would say Ashes of Creation tank will be a pretty classic one, one that tank players
Standard.
are familiar with, and I think that's what people want. We don't need to necessarily redefine what the tank is, but I think we can improve it. There's some things that
Nothing I've seen so far shows that they've improved it. Just being straight up.
obviously you'll have your expected mechanics like threat management and generation, mitigation, control, battlefield control, CC effects, but then we'd also like to see more direct ways of protecting your party members too, exploring just like Aegis. That's just to be scratching the surface of that kind of thing. But being able
I think that's fine, but I wouldn't make it to where you have to use that kind of stuff all the time. Like that's
Should be
my
very
concern.
situational. Yeah.
Yeah, remove threat management from that. He's 100% correct. Yeah, definitely.
to actually actively take damage for your allies that isn't just manipulating the AI. Because another thing about tanks that I think a lot of people deal with other games is they're pretty bad in PvP. Like when threat is removed
Not always. Not always. They're either OP as hell in PvP or they're garbage. It's usually one or the
from
other.
the equation, what am I doing as a tank when players just ignore me? And so we want to offer more.
I feel like in WoW PvP, tanks are actually very good. They're either very
They're good in like BGs. They're dog shit in arena because there's no objective other than killing the team in arena.
good or very bad. And like with New World, I feel like tanks are also extremely good. So
Yeah, New World. That's also because like it's hard to ignore the player in front of you in New World, especially if you're like a ranged player. So, I mean, that's why they're good is because you can't like try to go behind them easily.
like in my opinion, I think that as a tank, what really is your role in PvP?
Distract.
I think it's to maybe it's almost like a
If I had to guess, it would be distracting the enemy, like by applying like CC stuff to them, like making them annoyed. Like you're taunting them, but in a different way. Like it's not threat exactly, but you are in a form taunting them. Like you're forcing them to focus on you instead of the DPS that's killing them.
like
Or
a
at least-
defensive bard almost. Where
Like, yeah, because when I play tank in PvP, it's always like I try to be the very first one to jump in. Like I'll just heroic leap into a group if I have to. Because to me, it's not about dying. Like I don't care about dying. Of course, I'll pop my defensive CDs when I do that, just because I know everyone's about to like freaking nuke me. But the point is to try to survive long enough that your DPS can, you know, get out their things. Because if they use like abilities on you, those are abilities they, you know, especially like cooldown ones, they're not going to use it on your DPS. And while your DPS does have their abilities, so
like
that's why they're good in BGs, but just dog shit in arena.
you're buffing your party, like giving them avoidance, maybe CCing players, doing stuff like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, crowd control, stuff like that, or big damage. Like if you're very slow or something like that. It's hard to say.
I don't think they should have big damage, but I think they should have damage that you cannot ignore. As in, if a tank is on you, like, and you don't have like someone keeping you up, like a healer, like that should eventually kill you. Maybe not as quick as a DPS, obviously, but they shouldn't be a case where like people are just self-healing through tanks DPS, which unfortunately is the case right now with WoW.
Direct mechanics that force even players or encourage players to attack the tank to make it so that the tank can't protect their allies against you.
Yeah, I think you know, traditionally I like playing a combination of tank healer.
Yeah, somebody says, why shouldn't taunt work in PvP? Because it's bad gameplay.
Yeah.
I
It
find
makes it
that
really
whenever
annoying.
my target or like my camera is being redirected by another player, it's extremely jarring and annoying.
Exactly.
This is regardless of whether it's fun or not, or sorry, not like whether it's balanced or not. I find the fundamental of that gameplay to be unpleasant.
I mean, I've also played, of course, you know, mages and whatnot, DPSs. But I like the role of kind of the control aspect, the mitigation, the kind of protective nature, the ability to kind of route enemies in a fashion that is most conducive to the engagement of the encounter. That's what I really like here. So, as you can see, we're making good progress here. A lot better than the first round. Let's see. Once we get up here, I want to showcase a little bit of the wind actors on this grass that you guys kind of see around us.
Yeah, as I said, I think they should just do like Death Grip in WoW is fucking perfect. I love seeing stuff like that.
Yeah.
If you deal more damage. No, I'm fine with having taunt that has a functionality in PvP. Taunt has a functionality in PvP right now for WoW. For like the more people that attack
These
something
guys
with a
are
taunt buff,
pieces of cake.
it takes
We're
more
doing
damage.
better.
I think
We're
that's
doing
fine.
better.
In small numbers.
In small numbers,
Yeah,
that's true.
we're
Does it? I did not know that. Is that true? I'll look into that. Because it's like I do arena, like on occasion. And anytime you see the enemy has a tank, it's a GG. I've never lost a game against a tank.
we're gonna have some challenge ahead of us because this is a very intense area of these enemies, and if we're not careful with our positioning, we could end up with a big fight on our hands.
Agreed. Alright, come over here, buddy boy. Yeah, what you got? Come on over. See, sometimes when I like to play from a showcase,
And also, like, you know, in terms of resources, I don't think it really makes a lot of sense for many classes to have mana. Like how in WoW, like rogues have energy, you know, warriors have rage, mages
Yeah.
have mana. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to me that that warriors would have mana, for example.
perspective, I do so in the realm of like a new player, persona wise.
Okay.
Of course.
Of course. I see I'm ticking for 50. I don't know what that ticking for 50 is.
Sit for mana if y'all need it.
Yeah, let's
it
sit
was-
here.
I think communal restoration or something applies a hot.
Oh yeah. Let me sit down.
No, that's cleansing.
Oh, you're right, cleansing
I'm
blade.
also like, maybe this is an unpopular opinion since this game is like a little bit more old school, but anytime that you have to sit down for more than like 5 seconds to like regen your
Yeah.
mana,
Energy. Yep.
like I don't really, you know, like why, like it's boring.
Yep.
Take a seat and get some.
It seems like the out of combat regeneration is just way too slow.
Restorative mana.
Going different research for
So you guys are
archetype?
going to see
Okay,
here
that's
ahead
good.
of us. This is a pretty
It's an old concept. Yeah, it is.
grassy area.
Especially like look, like everyone else has full mana but him. Like that shouldn't be happening like as a tank. Like that's just really weird.
It's a beautiful area. I'm liking it. But I want to showcase a little bit of how abilities interact with the grass and with the foliage.
Okay, that's
So
good.
you'll remember that we have that
That's
kind
actually
of
pretty
forward
cool if it
shout.
does.
And watch what happens when I use it here. Boom! Oh, it's
That's really cool.
That is badass.
That's actually fucking badass.
Yeah.
Let's watch that again.
and
It
watch
made
what
like an
happens when I use it
imprint.
here.
Look at that.
Boom!
That's
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
it's like a
super
crazy.
fucking
It's like a
immersive. I
heart-shaped
love that.
Yeah.
Little AOE of anger
Now imagine that in like the snow and stuff. How that's gonna look.
and malice.
Holy shit.
I think
That's
that's
really
a really
cool.
cool touch of just like visual tech that a lot of games haven't.
Oh, even the
explored.
abilities are like
Makes it
pushing
feel
the
grounded
grass.
in the world.
Yeah, that's
I agree.
badass.
It's very immersive. I would like to kind of move in this direction, guys. Kind of, if you want to stay close to me. All right, we'll see what we can accomplish here.
It would also be nice if like these NPCs had an indicator of how close you are to aggroing them. Like for example, in Valheim, whenever you get near
I was thinking Skyrim with like the eye.
an NPC, it will have like a yellow exclamation point, and that's like, hey, it's been alerted that something is going on. And then a red exclamation point is like, okay, it has aggro. It's going after you.
Yeah, I think Skyrim's eye also would work, where the eye like fills up depending on like how alert they are to you, and if it's like fully like filled, they see you. Is that Skyrim? I think
An
it's
aggro range
Skyrim.
indicator?
Could
Yeah.
be thinking something else,
This way.
a different game.
And I'm gonna grab.
No, people don't like that idea. Why? That just makes the game too easy, though.
Easy? That's a dumb
Wait,
argument.
you think the game would be too easy if you could see if you were aggroing things? Like, you want not knowing if you're going to aggro something and then having multiple things aggro without you thinking that they're going to aggro? You want that as a difficulty factor? I don't. I think that sucks. It's annoying.
That's not even a difficulty factor. Because eventually, I mean, it is true that eventually you are going to just get a feel for it once you start playing the game enough. Like, wow, like I have a general feel of how close I can get before something aggroes on me. But that's because I've been playing the game for a long time. So eventually that would be the case with Ashes, but it's like, why does that even need to be a thing? It's not a difficulty
This guy
thing.
over here. Sit down.
Okay.
Alright, good. Let me know if you
That's
see
taking a
any
lot of
targets moving towards us.
That is
I just
good, he
don't
can
bias
zoom
for
out.
Convenience. I absolutely do, because I think convenience makes games better.
And we'll maybe approach this. Let's go this way.
Okay.
Stay close. And I'm going to pull this guy over real quick. There we go.
I think he resisted you.
Graphics and downgrade for the cave video when it first went number 5. No, it's about the same, I would say.
Got on that. Add.
Okay, that's okay. Just stay near me if you can. Keep heals on me. I got shield up. Let's focus down that one target.
Oh, yeah, he was taking a
Target's
lot of
dead.
damage
We'll
just
switch
now.
over.
What is that ring?
On me.
Is that a heal? He still does not have aggro. That's
Yeah, the
crazy.
aggro I think would be like super frustrating to play.
Alright, good.
Yeah, that was just
Now,
retarded.
this is a
Yeah, I would say so. Like, yeah, not being able to get aggro on stuff is
Yeah.
awful. Shifting stupid things so they're challenging but fun things. Yeah, and that's kind of the way that I look at it, is that I think that, like, frictional things that, like, happen on accident and create tilt.
And I just realized that the word I said, like, I actually don't really use that word. It's actually, like, a little mad at myself because I try not to use words that I've told myself, okay, let's just not use that anymore. Yeah, it was stupid. It's really stupid.
Moments for games are not good, just in general.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, if a game creates an outcome that's frustrating or that's hard to understand, and then you're punished for that, I don't think most people enjoy that.
I also think it's because the cooldowns, like the weapons have, or his abilities that generate threat have a decent cooldown on them. But if it was like a 3-second cooldown, it wouldn't be too bad.
And I think that
But they're like 8 seconds.
the challenge in a game should come
Which, if you're fighting elites and stuff, is like a long time.
from the mechanics of a boss. It should come from the healing output that you need to do for the boss, like some sort of pattern that you need to dodge, something like that. Actual skill-based content, rather than having these like weird pseudo skill things, like knowing how far away a mob can aggro from. I don't find this to be like a particularly enjoyable thing to do, and I think also whenever you
I don't think it's too big of a deal because, like I said, WoW doesn't really have it, and yet people just figure it out off of playing a while. So to me, I don't really consider that too big of a deal. I'm really not liking how the threat is working. So if this keeps it, I will not be tanking in Ashes because like he said, it's just a pain in the ass. Why go put yourself through that
spend more time playing the game,
when you could just DPS or heal and not have to worry about like stupid stuff like that?
you'll have to deal with people that don't know that, and then they'll aggro extra stuff because they're not aware of it, and it will create frustrating outcomes for a more minimal gain.
You're going to lose the casual tanking player base, which means there's going to be a lot less tanks, which is never a good thing, even if you don't care about tanking. If you played any game that requires a tank, Warcraft, Final Fantasy, you know that queuing as a DPS and there's not many tanks is a pain in the ass. Final Fantasy kind of resolved it with the whole trust system and like the squadrons. But with WoW, like for example, the solo queue in WoW right now, because you need a healer and people don't really like healing in PvP, it's a nightmare. It's like 20-30 minute queues for a DPS and solo queue, at least in my server.
pretty dense area. That's a problem.
Then I jump on my healer, it's like less than 3 minutes. Most of the time it's instant.
Yeah,
Let me
fight
see,
against the
let's
UI.
Let's try to pull this guy one at a time.
Hold on. Let me get people
Get
topped off
close
here.
if you can to me. All right, here we go. Okay, knock him. Nicely done. Nicely done. Let's grab this guy
And
right
stuff from normal
here.
people don't know life the game. Yeah, exactly.
Like, look at that. Like, he used all his abilities and he still lost aggro for a bit.
Yeah, nice.
Like, that's crazy.
I love the effects on these guys, and the animation did a great job as well.
I think the effects are like they're very powerful, very high levels of effects.
I think they're just too bright.
I could see playing this for like a few hours could give somebody like a little bit of a visual migraine. Yeah, way too many effects. Yeah, for sure.
It's not that there's too many, it's just bright as shit. Wait, what?
All right, let's move up over to this rock area. I need to sit real quick.
He got like beamed up.
Before
What the hell?
occurs. Just grab some
Yeah, this
mana
line
back.
of sight.
Like, that mana thing is just so...
Should be an exclamation mark. Yeah, something like that.
Serene.
Like, him sitting down again, it's like, this is annoying.
I know. I couldn't even
Hear the
imagine.
sound of the birds.
There's so many ghosts and shades in this area. It's kind of sad. Now, I believe in this particular Oakenbane Keep area, there used to be these old, magnificent kind of essence-ridden trees, but they were all harvested to produce kind of magical artifacty items, and now only one remains, which Lord Oakenbane himself guards.
All right, well, let's kill him.
I think I'm good. Let me grab this guy here. I'm just gonna body pull him. Come on, buddy. There you go.
Like, it seems like he keeps threat no problem when he gets everything off. But it's like, that's 3 of his abilities. The rest don't do anything for threat.
Okay. You guys finish him off. I'm gonna grab the next one.
Maybe because he's a low level, I have no idea. I just feel like they didn't really do a good
Okay,
job
we got
there
the boss as well.
with trying to promote people playing tank class. Like, based on everything I've seen so far, I really don't want to play the tank anymore.
I'm gonna activate my grit.
Here we go.
And I play tank on every MMO I play. Like, I did it in Final Fantasy, did it in WoW. It's usually my favorite class to play, but in this, I like New World as well. Like, I didn't really like it, so.
Let's see what this boss is like.
Try to focus the little dude first. Alright, I'm gonna try to knock the boss down. I'm gonna put up a shield just in case you need it.
And he's dead.
Oh, I
Cool
went
downs.
down. I went down. I'm coming back up. Coming back
Okay,
up.
here we go.
Knock him down now.
Is there not like a taunt ability?
Trying to drop some aggro.
Because yeah, I feel like you kind of need a taunt ability. Gameplay this month, from last month already looks better. Yeah, no, that's definitely true.
Trying to get him off.
I think they could do more with them looking more like ghosts. Right now, it's just that it's missing legs. Like, nothing else looks ghostly
Nice.
that I can tell.
Keep it up.
Like, if you put legs on them, it'd no longer look anything like a ghost.
Most.
And these are low-level mobs, so they're not going to have like a bunch of crazy abilities.
Not bad. Only one death.
Yeah, that wasn't too
Okay,
bad.
there's the
Wasn't too
tower
bad.
shield.
We got a tower shield now.
All right, let's see how this works.
I need that, of course, as the tank.
You get all the loot this run.
Yay!
All right, let's see what
It
the
is
tower
tank
shield looks
showcase.
It's the tank run.
All right, let me put on this glorious
go.
tower shield, and let me compare it actually.
That's 7 armor, 2 constitution. Well, the other one doesn't give anything.
Ooh, there we go. I'm loving it.
It's a little bit better.
That is a true tower shield. Now, I'm of course to having like a medium-sized tower shield as a dwarf in most tabletop RPGs that I play, so that I just have complete cover against my enemies. But this is.
I think they should just do shields, make them a lot like either New World or Elden Ring, where it's like the bigger shields have, you know,
More
like
armor?
more you know, like more blocking stability, but they also weigh a lot more, or they make your character slower.
Yeah.
Not either. I like it. It's very, very
If they're going to go with the realism, then yeah, I think Elden Ring is a great one to kind of copy.
polished. The metal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it fits with the armor from this area.
That was much longer. Yeah.
Yeah. That's nice.
Shields in New World are done well. Yeah, I think so too.
We have how many more bosses after this? We have a couple. We have a leggings and a chest piece. Now we really in that live stream did not perform well against the main boss dude. But again, this is an area intended for 8 people with pots and other
The
supplies
8.
that we don't necessarily have access to. I'm gonna knock him down into 1.
Yeah, like a lot of other classic inspired MMOs, like you can still do it with lower numbers. It's just gonna take a while. You gotta be more careful.
Yeah, and tell me a little bit about kind of, our decisions around allowing kind of content to get experienced by lower level players.
So the problem with this is going to get steamrolled by people trying to speedrun leveling. I think that's a problem.
What type of safeguards do we put from, power leveling or twinking? Obviously, we adjust experience based on level differential between the target enemy and the...
I don't think that's going to help much. People are going to find pretty easily the ideal setup to where it's like, okay, is it 10, 20 in terms of like how fast they kill things versus, the actual experience gained, and also like how much experience you're getting versus the difficulty. So even though you may not be getting as much experience as like the actual optimal build, like there's no threat of dying. Like you guys are melting everything. You're not getting the best experience, but like it's easy experience. So.
And the group, how do we kind of do that? Obviously, we take the difference in the party max level and the party's lowest level, and those things can indicate...
I don't think that power leveling somebody is a big deal. Like,
No.
I don't think that should be the meta, and I don't think it should be, like, super efficient to do that. But, like, I don't think
there's a big
the
problem.
worst thing ever either.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to help your friend get higher level... That way he's caught up with everybody else. I don't think that's like super bad.
Yep.
The modifier that is applied to incoming experience based on the number of participants within that party. And those help safeguard those things. Which we're all accustomed to. Oh, God.
Because even if they do that where it's like, say you're max level and you're helping your lobby friend level, like, even if they reduce all the experience, there's still going to be cases where the high level is going to do it just so they can gear the hell out of their friend. And their friend then can go, like, basically one-shot everything their level. Because they're, like, twinked out. Because if you're going to affect drop rate as well, like, that's just... Honestly, that's shit. Like, that would be really bad.
And in addition to that, we also have experience bonus for grouping up. It's pretty cool.
Don't make the game worse just because you don't
It's
want
higher and higher the more people you have in your group to really encourage those.
You don't want to ban
groups.
bots.
Yes.
That's really fair. Okay, so this is the boss.
And
This
obviously
looks like
the way
boss
that we
area.
kind of designed the encounter... for
I will
these...
say this looks really fucking badass.
Yeah, I was going to say the area looks cool.
Yeah, like being able to like walk in there and it has the guy that's waiting up there and he's obviously like the boss himself. That looks really cool.
I like how like the trees and stuff are like growing out of the wall.
Is that certain monsters will have certain types of strengths and weaknesses.
Uh-huh.
Those, of course, will correlate to certain types of class kits. So some areas might be more beneficial for you to kind of XP in versus others. And a big role in that non-solo gameplay, of course, is going to be group composition, right?
Yeah, that's one thing I really love about our diverse class kits that we have available to us in Ashes is the diverse content that comes along with that, right? Like for an optimal group for one area might involve, 3 or 4 ranged DPS, but another area you might want to stack fighters for all their CC that they can bring. So different groups for different areas.
I don't think that's going to do anything. I'll be honest. I know that's what they're saying, but I don't see how that does anything. Like, unless it's a terrain thing where you just can't get to them. Like, how does it change up like whether you have ranged or melee in these kind of areas. Like to me, I just don't see it as like anything. The only other thing I can think of is like the enemies are gonna have like a lot of AOE that's stationary, as in it's coming just from them. In which case, melee's not going to be ideal. But that just seems annoying.
It's always a balancing act between knowing should you make something like very good to where people want to bring it for certain situations, but like how good, and if it's too good, then people are like, okay, well, we need to have one of these. It's always hard to know like where to draw the line there.
Easy.
Video on low quality setting? I do? No, it's on
How
HD.
far? Oh, we have to go just up this way, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Just
yeah,
up here and
good.
around the hill. He's on some ruins in the back.
Okay.
Come on over here, buddy. Come on.
Hey Tread, can you change the loot rules to drop the rarity from what it's set right now, like 1 level, so that greens are rollable?
Oh, good call.
Where do I do that?
Options, party settings.
Hold up, Steven.
All right. Okay. Stand by. Tank
All right,
is
so
standing
I
by.
am saying.
I'm gonna skip to the boss fight. I want to see the
leader group?
boss fight.
Yeah.
So, all right, I have common and uncommon, need or agree.
Look at
Yep.
this party.
Okay.
My ranger fantasy.
Really? Alright. Let's go kill this guy over here first. I think he has the leggings, yeah?
Okay, here we go. Here's another boss fight.
This guy. Get over here.
I think also like having action combat to where like you can dodge and avoid certain mechanics, like especially projectiles, feels really cool in certain games. Like obviously Elden Ring and like Dark Souls type stuff, New World has this, Lost Ark has this in certain ways. Yeah, I think this is good.
I would
Hopefully
agree.
they have
Yeah.
more of that.
I do like the old school feel of carefully navigating through space,
Oh,
trying
absolutely.
not to pull too many things at once.
Oh yeah, I'm not about that lawnmower combat at all.
I mean, I don't know why they're saying that, because they just said that this was meant for 8 people. If they had 8 people where they're at now, like they wouldn't have to do this like crawls, what they're talking about, like being careful. You know what I mean? Like it I don't know. This is weird.
Yeah, Jeremy, Doug, and their teams did a really good job on the encounters here.
Yeah, that can be a problem when you move into an area and it's just like overwhelmingly dense. And sometimes those areas you like are happy if there's other parties that are nearby, and you're like, okay, cool, you're keeping the spawn rate down for me a little bit. Oh, we got somebody here. Oh God, let me.
I will also say like fighting against respawns is like not really the worst thing, but whenever you have to spend a long time to like regen mana and you're also dealing with respawns,
Yeah.
I do think that does kind of get frustrating.
See if I can actively block
I
that.
love Master Pulse. Yeah,
Boom!
I do too.
What's
I think
up,
they're
buddy?
awesome.
What's up? Come on,
Nice.
let's go again.
Skills.
I'm just gonna let you take that one. I need some mana.
I want to get him to shoot me again. Boom!
I'd like to explore like a
Boom!
perfect block thing where if you time it perfectly, you get an additional bonus. or
Oh,
something.
that would be great. Like a kind of almost Gears of
Parry.
War where you have that active reload.
That's a great idea, by the way. I really
Yeah.
hope they do that. Like Valheim has that as a parry. Yeah,
Dark
that's
Souls,
a really
yeah.
good idea. Like making combat more reactive and adding
Like if you could do that on a spell or reflex a spell, if you can do it on like melee, like maybe it adds a debuff.
nuances inside of the combat that is more than just pressing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
The engineer in me is now crying.
We'll have to be somewhat a little forgiving for it, but like I've been playing Valheim lately, and it's really fun to do their perfect block.
Yeah,
Oh.
I'm
it
feeling
is.
it. I'm
It's
feeling
really
that
well
block. As
designed.
and it's just so good with the sound effects that are associated
Feels
that Cat
great.
did on that bolt. Oh, it feels so good. Okay, looks like we're grabbing
Oh.
2.
Oh,
Let me
yeah.
get aggro on the boss first. I'm gonna need some heals. Let me
We'll focus
activate
the ad.
my. Yeah, you guys focus. I'm
Probably
just
want
gonna
to drop
build
the
up.
ad, yeah.
I'm just gonna build up hate here on the boss. You guys focus down that ad.
So I think he messed up here. He should have only used one ability on the boss and immediately been on that ad. Because it just makes more sense from a
Try and
tank's
keep you perked
perspective.
up.
I should be good. I have my grit active and I have my active block. You just keep Keenan alive. He looks like he's taking some damage.
Working on it. He's almost down.
How dare you? How dare this guy?
Group heal coming up.
How dare him?
Okay.
The Arborist Historia.
Ooh.
That was avoidable.
Knocked him.
Whoops.
Let me pull him over here a little bit. Come on over, buddy.
Listen, well, he just
Come
does
on.
one ability.
Come to
He
me.
just does like
Group
the
heal coming up
4
again.
things
Pulling
around
him.
them. And like again, these are like level 17 mobs. So like we shouldn't be comparing this to like a Mythic Plus dungeon boss in WoW. You should
Yeah.
compare this to Dead Mines.
Yeah, that's a good. That makes
Knocking
sense.
him. There we go. Let's go. Let's go. Easy. Nice. What does
Okay,
he
where to
got?
loot at?
Titan bark leggings. Sweet. We're almost there. I need that, of course.
Okay.
Need.
I need.
I'm gonna skip ahead a little
Alright,
bit.
We handled that guy with ease.
I'll also say that the visuals in the game, like, I think they look good. Like they have good fidelity, but a little bit more. I don't really even know what the word is for it, but like kind of flair to some of the designs to make them look a little bit more like memorable, I guess. Like
That's
for
a good,
example, like you can
yeah.
see certain areas in WoW, and you know exactly where that is based off of what the like how the rocks are designed or how the like the side of a fort or a wall is designed. Yeah, like make things a little bit more stylized.
Maybe
Art
Yeah.
style.
I mean, it seems like with this, like a lot of like things are being overgrown by nature. So I think more of that would have been better.
Okay.
It's like that
Lord
video we
Oakenbay.
talked about yesterday. We watched.
I think
yesterday.
if we just clear carefully, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
All right, let's
Mhm.
keep on clearing. I'm gonna pull the left side first. Stand by.
Okay,
I
I'm
would
gonna
pull them,
skip
like,
ahead
back
to
over
where they're
here,
at the
'cause we'll have
boss.
mobs
I
on
wanna
both
see the
sides of
boss
you.
fight.
Dude, yeah, let's go over here. Actually, let's go to the right.
Okay, here we go. Best example is Elden Ring. Yeah, that's
Get
another good
yourself that-
example.
It's the echo.
Okay, so this is
Only
where,
one left, and you want to chop it down.
I mean, this is kind of cool, like with this tree underneath on top of the crypt that's underneath it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that looks pretty good.
I feel like I'm having. Are we having an earthquake? Like my table's moving. No, I think we're good.
Time to
Okay.
get some sleep, Steven.
I know, right? Oh my god.
Time for all of us to get some sleep.
I know. All right, I'm gonna pull this guy up here. Stand by.
Okay, I'm gonna skip ahead a bit more just so we can see a little bit more of the environment too. Okay.
Honest.
Yeah.
All right, this is almost it.
Watch the angle on
Here
the
we
pull.
go.
Don't want to pull in front of Oakenbane.
He does a big AoE, so we're gonna have to spread out, and then we're gonna aggro. If we do that.
Okay.
We have one
stand,
behind
stand
us, too,
right
that we
here.
could have
Stand
it
right
achieve.
here on me in this position. Don't deviate from this one. Hold here. And then let me see if I can grab this echo first.
Can't the archer just shoot him?
And if I can, there we go.
Nope.
Got the boss.
He's
Okay, I'm
social.
gonna grab the
Kill the
boss. You
echo.
guys kill the echo.
Yeah,
Take
there
the
you
boss
go.
back to his room.
Okay, stand by.
Good idea.
Don't attack that boss. All right, good.
He didn't
Oh,
listen.
God, it hurts. It hurts.
He said it like, take the boss to the room.
All right, I got the boss on the ground. Keep keening up. Oh God,
Ryan.
I'm holding.
I think the animation there, like, it's okay, but it could definitely use a lot of improvement. Where it's like, I don't know exactly how you're supposed to tell, like, when the attack is gonna go, or like
Yeah.
when it's gonna happen.
It also kind of looked a bit hard to
Boss
tell
can't-
who was going to
Can't
affect
keep up with that.
Okay, I'm good. Ignore me
prior
now.
to it going off.
Oh, so
Okay.
close. I'm gonna knock him down. All right, good. We're good.
Dropping a chains.
Nice. Oh, thank God for this active block. Knocking him. Alright, holding aggro. I'm going to pull him inside of his mausoleum where he should be laid to rest appropriately. Come here. Follow me.
Okay.
Into your final resting place, Lord Oakenbane.
Ooh. He didn't like that.
I do really like how you
he's
can.
going to sleep. Shh, just go to sleep. Go to sleep.
It's hard for me to know like whether blocking should be like an active thing like this or not.
That's actually what I was just thinking while watching him just hold that block. I'm like, that's, I don't know, kind of boring. Like, I feel like WoW does it better, where it's an ability with a cooldown. And yes, like, you can have it up a lot of the time, but it's not, like, permanent. Like, this seems kind of to be. It's hard. I don't know, I'd have to play with it to see if I prefer one or the other. I just, off the gut feeling, I feel like I wouldn't like it.
+1, yeah. I'm not sure. Because, like, New World has this, whereas, like, WoW, whenever you're just getting attacked, you can block.
Yeah.
Do it.
I'm just saying, like, the reason why is because I think holding block and getting attacked, it kind of sucks. So it's like, this is something I'd have to really play and see how it feels.
It also limits what you can do with blocking, I think. I'm not sure, but like, does that mean every tank class has to have some kind of shield? Or maybe like a two-hander, I guess, like in New World? But I'm not sure.
Rest
It's
now.
happening. I commit you to the ground, Lord Oakenbane. Well
He's dead.
done,
Okay, what does he drop?
ladies and
It's a
gentlemen.
good fight.
That was good. I'm grabbing my need on the Titan Bark chest plate. And then now it is time to reveal the glory of our pursuits.
Okay, let's see it.
I am going to equip said.
I wonder if there's like a
Thanks.
set bonus to it.
Let's do it.
That'd be really cool. It looks way better than what he had. That's cool.
Oh yeah.
That looks
It
good.
looks so
Yeah.
glorious.
That's good.
Jelly.
How's
So,
our
what do you
art
guys
team so
think?
good?
I know. The art team is unbelievable. I mean, really. They're just so good.
I wouldn't expect it to be like something super fucking crazy because it's low level armor.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, basically a helmet
I do wonder if they're going to have transmog though.
with a little bit of flair to it.
Yeah.
Well, everyone, I hope you guys enjoyed this brief demonstration of our Alpha 2 preview for the tank archetype. Of course, as we said, this is all a work in progress. There are many things that will change. Testing is very important. Your feedback is incredibly important. Please make sure that you leave all commentary possible within the YouTube video, on our forums, on our Reddit, on Twitter, everywhere possible. We always take that stuff very seriously, and we iterate upon it, as you've seen between November's live stream and this month's live stream. I hope you all enjoyed it. Keenan, Trad, Brian, thank you very much for joining us, and we will see you all next time.
Cheers.
See you, everyone.
Yeah, I think this
Cheers.
combat definitely looked better than the last one. I would say that for sure. It's going to take a while for them to have the combat be as good as something like Lost Ark or BDO or something like that, which in my opinion is kind of like the gold standard. And even New World, like despite
Oh, yeah, I was muted just now, but what I was saying is, like, the combat does look way better than it did. I do think there's obvious issues, like it being way too flashy with bright lights, which is the problem. I wish the animations weren't just like stuck on bright equals cool. Um, and of course, tanking itself does not look enjoyable just based on what we're seeing. I'm just being straight up honest with you. It just does not look fun to be a tank in Ashes right now. So hopefully they realize that maintaining threat should not be as difficult as they seem to be wanting it to be. You know, like if you get like one of your threat abilities off, that should almost guarantee that you have threats on that enemy. Maybe not if like a DPS did like 90% of the damage, but there were cases where he lost threat after doing one of his abilities that, you know, does threat when they were at like 90% health, which is just stupid.
Fight the desyncing stuff has pretty good combat. That's what really has to work. It's improving every month. Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, that's true.
Let me link you guys the video. That's how it comes out. We'll have iterations. Oh yeah, definitely. I do think that like for tanking, like gaining aggro as a tank is not fun. It's annoying because then people are pulling aggro. You've got to let like a lot of tank abilities are probably reactive in certain ways, like blocking.
Yeah.
You know, perfect blocking. That's all reactive. So like if you lose aggro and you have people that are like attacking and then you can't get aggro back and like you're doing less damage, so you're doing less aggro, it's like a very frustrating situation. And like whenever aggro was a big problem in WoW, it was not fun in my opinion to tank. And I
Yep.
think also like a good example of like how true this is that remember back whenever Burning Crusade came out and there was like this massive tank shortage because nobody wanted to play tank because it just
That's
wasn't
exactly
fun
what I was
to do
saying.
shit damage and compete for aggro. Yeah, it just wasn't
Yeah.
fun. And I think also New World has the same problem that a lot of people don't like playing tank in New World because the gameplay of it is not enjoyable.
Yep. There's also the issue with mana. Like, what the hell is the tank having to sit down all the time getting mana back? Like, that to me was just stupid. Like, maybe the healer, if it was an intensive fight, it would make more sense. But, like, the tank? Like, I've never seen a game do that. It's just poor design. I have a feeling they would fix that, but hey, this is what they're showing us, so it's what we have at this time to critique.
Aggro is the best thing that existed to stand out. I don't really think so.
Yeah, that's someone who's never tanked. At least not like a lot. Maybe they dabbled in it in classic WoW, and that's like now they think they're like an expert in tanking. Not that I'm one, but I've tanked in like freaking a dozen MMOs by now. And it's any MMO that has it like that, I just don't tank in it. I don't want to.
I feel like the game has improved more in terms of combat as they've removed them.
Yeah.
Let's see here. New World desync on Taun is shocking. Yeah, of course that's an issue. And Stream has said they sold 100,000 alpha keys. Holy shit. People crying about taking forever to release, but haven't seen hundreds of games that drop unfinished and fail miserably. No. I don't really care about that. The game will come out whenever it comes out, okay? Like, I don't know when that's going to be. I have no idea. But if it takes a while longer, then it takes a while longer. It doesn't really matter. They should only release it whenever they are ready to release it. Does that make sense? New Willy video is really good. Yeah, I might watch that. We'll see what happens. I'll look at it. I do think that this is a pretty big improvement from what we've seen last time. And I think to me, whenever you're looking at like a new, what do you call it? Like a new game and like the development of the game, it's not even really where the game is. It's where the game is going and how it evolves. So I think that it's gotten better over time and hopefully.
And yeah, like with the whole tanking thing, me being against it, like, of course, like who cares if I'm going to tank in a game? But at the same time, it's like if I don't want to tank, there's probably way more people as well who have that same mentality where it's like I don't mind tanking when it's like I don't want to use the word easy because it's like to me threat should not be a part of the equation. That's like if a DPS like say for example you have a DPS class, when you mess up like something in the rotation, it immediately like ruins your DPS. Like you're now like really like as bad a DPS as like you're doing tank DPS now. You know what I mean? Because you messed up one part of your rotation once. That fight is now like you're garbage DPS for the rest of that fight. I hate that on DPS as well, where it's like, that is just annoying. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people just don't play those kind of classes. It doesn't feel satisfying either. When you do get it right, it's not like a satisfying thing. It's more like it's just frustrating when you don't get it right.
Hopefully that will continue to be the case.
Yeah. Like and that's what I mean. Like getting threats, like a lot of times in these kind of games where it's hard to do, not hard to do, but like tedious. You don't feel satisfied once you get the threat. It's more like, oh, thank God, like finally, like. And then if you don't get it, you're just like, oh my God, I hate this game.
That's why they don't release the game anytime soon, because they can make more money riding hype like Star Citizen. Yeah, I don't know.
Think so.
I mean, like, I don't want to get into like some conspiracy weird thing like that
Yeah.
or whatever.
I think it's way too early to say that's what's happening.
I have no idea. I think if the game was out, you could probably make more money off of it because you're selling subscriptions. Like, you know, you're selling 100,000 alpha keys. How many times can you sell that? You can only sell that one time. So you want to have different ways for people to spend money more regularly, and that's just what makes sense. So yeah. I don't think that's a very good way to look at it. Can I say it's way much better video? Yeah, exactly. I like this. Hopefully we will see more combat like this, and you know they'll fix a little bit more of the desync type stuff, and the
yeah.
Like the fuck, I'm having a hard time with words today. I don't really know why. They'll fix the clunkiness, I guess you could say. Yeah, the clunky.
Yeah, it was also hard to tell when like bosses would do abilities, and those abilities did hit pretty hard. So it's important because this is at a low level, so it's not that big a deal. But at the higher levels, when they can probably do one-shot mechanics, like how are you gonna know things are happening?
Clunkiness and that kind of stuff.
Unless they're just not gonna have one-shot mechanics, but in which case they're still gonna have mechanics that do a ton of damage. So. Okay. I mean, I'm still excited about Ash's creation. It's just based on what I'm saying, if nothing really changes too much with how they implement the tanks, I'm just not going to play a tank. I'll probably just do a healer or something, though. It looked like healing seemed to be a bit annoying as well. Like, I think the cooldowns are just too long, possibly. Because it looked like the healer wasn't running out of mana. It's just all their abilities were on cooldown. Which I think is an issue. So. But yeah, so still looking forward to it.